So, take two, Brandon. Try this again. If you guys knew what we've gone through to get this show up and going, we actually said. So first of all, we screwed up. We recorded the best podcast the world has ever seen.
Well, actually, the whole podcast was 100% winners. So we were in contact with Man of the Library. We got the script for this week. We gave out every single winner and exactly what round and method that it happened, and that podcast is gone.
Yeah, it's gone. It's in like no man's land. We recorded it. Everything was good. And then we died. Like, I don't even know where it went.
Well, the FBI got a hold of us and said, hey, you can't drop the pod. So we are redoing the podcast. We're just going to fly off the cuff here.
Going to fly off the cuff. What's funny, though, is yesterday as we were recording this podcast originally, we actually said, like, oh, I'm sure there will be some technical snafus. We'll fix this, blah, blah, blah. There's going to be some other stuff. Yeah, there's a big freaking technical issue.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I used to be so mad when you would do that. You're supposed to be the technical guy. I don't know anything about technology. It's supposed to be you. And I remember a couple podcasts, you didn't click record, like literally day one stuff. And I used to just be like so mad. We'd be dead tired. We used to shoot this at 9 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, needless to say, we were pretty upset. And then it happened yesterday, and I just like looked at you and went, like, it's about what I expected.
What do you do?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, it's normal. That's just another
it's
day.
Normal. I mean, hey, any of you guys out there, if you guys are in Arizona and you want to produce this, like, show up and we'll DM us. DM us. We can't do this. We're over here trying to do this. I'm trying to like switch multicams and switch stuff as we're going. I think the lighting's a little bright in here too. I feel like we didn't touch anything. And I feel like the sun is on my face.
Yesterday was a little gloomy. That's probably why, too.
Maybe,
And
yeah.
I will say this. Our outfits, I mean, yours looks about normal. We had some fire outfits yesterday, and I was so cold. I froze for you guys so I could have this great outfit. And today, I'm not going to do it. I'm comfortable.
Today, I just showed up and was like, look, I'm showing up in a 1968 tracksuit.
You look like a normal gas station owner.
I look like a normal guy. No, I don't have a gold chain on.
Here, you can borrow one.
So, yeah, I need a gold chain. I need to borrow some so then it's proper. Before we talk fights, let's talk people out there. We give good bets, right? Last week, we killed it. Killed it. Everybody made a lot of money. Even if you don't like the bets or whatever, you get. First of all, you just get some entertainment. I mean, you get to watch Brandon and I. You get to watch Brandon in real time gaining weight. And then...
Oh, jeez.
You get to watch me screw up names. I mean, that's entertaining. So as a contract, like I do a service or I give you something and you pay me back, I think you guys should hit subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. I don't think that's a hard ask.
Sounds like a fair trade.
I'm not even asking you. I mean, you should go to the Patreon and Discord and sign up. That's cool. But I think if you're on YouTube, just subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, like go to YouTube really quickly, click subscribe. It takes you 32 seconds, if that. And I think that's good.
That sounds like a fair trade.
Yeah, that's a fair trade.
It's not asking for a lot.
If you want to share it, cool. We're not going to ask you for that. That's a lot. That's an ask. Subscribe, though, that's pretty easy. Oh, they could thumbs up. They could like. That's solid, too.
Okay.
A thumbs up and a subscribe.
What else? What else?
That's it. I
don't comments. Share with your friends.
Hey, comments and sharing with your friends. That's like, hey, that's extra. Okay. That's like, whoa, we better be doing something way more than producing an hour and a half podcast where people make money. We can't. At that point, we'd have to give like an organ. For a comment?
I'm willing to give an organ for a comment.
I might. But you guys do that. Of course, subscribe to the Patreon and the Discord. We love having you. We had a fun little chat the last couple weeks on the Discord. I've been on there more. You've been on there. It's been fun.
I've been stressed out on the Discord.
Are you?
Just, guys, don't be a cunt. If you're going to come on the Discord, don't be a cunt.
Yeah. And don't be we've talked about this before. Don't be weird. I can almost deal with cunty. Weird. Like, you guys. Don't be weird. Like, I'm fucking sick. I deal with weird all the time. I don't want weird. So don't be cunty. Don't be weird. We were just talking about this. I kind of will regulate. Like, I'll DM people like, hey, tone it down. Don't be weird. I'll kick you the fuck off. Like, I don't have time for it.
We don't need it. Like we tell you guys a lot. We have such a fun community, and you might think we're the sharpest or the dumbest people in the world. Like whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But the community is really good. We give good insights. We bet everything from every. I don't bet every sport, but people bet every sport, and we're looking at every fight card and everything like this. So we're good with what we're doing. We're good. We're all set on money. So if you're gonna come and you're gonna just blow it up and not be a good contributor to the mix, then we don't want you here.
Yeah, just have fun. Have fun. Don't be weird. If you guys have gambling problems, I'm not the person to talk to. Like I don't know what to do, but go seek help somewhere. But don't bring that shit on us. Like fuck.
I got enough problems.
Yeah,
guys.
we got enough problems. Gambling ain't one. All right, you guys. Let's get going. We've already done this once. I don't want to do it. I don't even want to do this one, but we got to do this one. This is where it comes in, you guys. Like, if you wait to be motivated to do anything, you're never going to get anything done. Like, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's parenting, whether it's anything in life, motivation is the least of all of your factors that should go into succeeding. Just get up and go do shit because no one's motivated ever, and get up and go do it. And I don't know if it's Kelvin actually mentioned this to me getting ready for camp. And he said, always something, never nothing. And I love that. If you take an average of something 365 days a year, and you could, I don't know, whatever you're doing, gambling, betting, work, whatever. And the scale is 0 to 10. 10 is most effort. 0, of course, is 0. And, some days you're a 10, some days you're a 7, some days you're a 5, other days you're a 9, and then you're a 0. That 0 kills you. That 0 kills your average. Even if you're a 1 or a 2, you don't want to do it. You don't do a lot. But you do one on an average 365 days a year. If you have 10 or 20 or 30 zeros versus 10 or 20 or 30 ones, man, look at the average over the course. Yeah. Don't do nothing. Always do something, especially when you're not motivated. That's when you do stuff. So just like us, I'm never motivated to do anything. I have goals. There is stuff that I want to achieve and there's stuff that I want done. And so you get up and you do it. So
we had this thing too. So like when we started the podcast, first of all, you've tried and done 1,000 podcasts before. Mm-hmm. You had different ideas, different things. You've always been a hustler since I've known you, trying a million different avenues. And even look back on the channel before we started this, you had a ton of podcasts, and each one of them fizzled out over time.
Yeah.
And we always remember that day where it was literally the day we're talking about, where you didn't hit record, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and we look at each other and we just go, we have to do this one now, because if we don't, this will be the end of the show. We will never do this again. We skipped a week. People are going to be, and then we've built enough equity and enough stability where, okay, sometimes we'll skip one show and we'll still be okay because we've built enough here. But yeah, like you got to get on that and just do it. Like, guys, I'm happy to be here always. Of course. But So let's get this one going.
All right, let's go. I think you have the fight. So kick it off. Let's go.
All right, so first up, we are going to look, starting bottom to top again, we're going to go Daniel Marcus versus Saimon Oliveira.
Do you want to start? You want me to start?
I'll start on this one just because I talked about this already. So I posted this one in the Discord. I've already put a pretty big play on this one. So to me, Saimon Oliveira is almost against everything that we've ever looked for in a fighter. Now, does that mean he could win? He still could win, of course, right? It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be, knock him down, drag him out. Is that the saying?
Yeah, I think so. Knock down, drag out.
Yeah, he's a guillotine guy, and he doesn't offensively wrestle to go win fights. Like, even if he was somehow able to get Daniel Marcos down, I don't think he's winning a fight there. So then it comes down to 100% striking. His height has always pissed me off because he's always listed at 5'4". He's not 5'4".
He's not 5'4". He's tall and skinny. Not skinny for the division, but
he's not tall. He's probably 5'6".
But he's rangy for the division. Like he's a flyweight, man. Like he's 5'6", may as well be 10, 12.
He's not huge, but he's bigger than what's listed. And then on the other side of things, you got Daniel Marcos, who obviously took a lot of time off. He beat Brandon Lewis on Contender Series, and I feel bad. They're going to bring Brandon Lewis on once a year to lose to the next prospect on Contender Series.
Yeah.
But he looked great doing it. He got so tired from beating the shit out of Brandon Lewis. His jabs look great. His low kicks look great. Just his overall awareness. I mean, he looks like a complete different fighter, or just he was unknown before, and now he looks great. So at the end of the day, I'm always going to take the guy who's throwing jabs and low kicks and staying long at range, is a little bit taller, in a 100% striking match versus the guy who's throwing spinning back fists and jumping guillotines. He's giving himself too many ways to lose this fight, lose his own fight. So I know this is in Brazil, and I know Daniel Marcos is not Brazilian. I like him. I think he's a solid striker, and I think the UFC is seeing what they have with Saimon Oliveira, and they're ready to cut ties with him. So I've already put a decent play in on Daniel Marcos.
Man, that is interesting. Gosh, first of all, why do I look so orange? We're messing with stuff. The lighting's just too high. I'm talking. You want to turn that light down? Do you even know how to turn the light down a little bit? No. You can turn that shit off, huh? Yeah, don't even worry about it. I'll just look like a Oompa Loompa these days. So, no, you gotta like scroll. Don't even worry about it. Well, I'm okay looking orange for a day. I'm kind of happy. It looks like I either have a tan or a spray tan, or I'm like radioactive. All of which would be more interesting than a regular day. But anyway, so we talked about this. Oliveira is kind of tall in range. Actually, Oliveira Simon. I don't know why Oliveira was. Like, there's too many Oliveiras. I was like, wait, I'm not talking about Charles Oliveira, the only one. Both Marcos and Oliveira have a very similar striking style. They strike the same, or I wouldn't say they strike the same, they look the same. Kind of a tall, standard Muay Thai stance. But Oliveira is very stiff. He's very rigid. He overloads everything. You kind of see it coming. And then he throws the spinning stuff all the time. Where Marcos is fluid. Like, he really has a good rhythm. He reads stuff well.
He's got the swag.
He's got some swag to him. And you don't see that often with these Brazilian kickboxers and stuff as much. And I guess he's not Brazilian, but in that Muay Thai style, that Muay Thai stance, he's got good swag. He moves well. He's got a good rhythm. From what we've seen, he has good takedown defense. He's not defending against really high-level guys, but he is defending. He's not jumping to guillotines. He's doing the right stuff. We only saw his Contender Series fight, and then he had a 3-year layoff before that. And so we don't really know. We don't know what we're getting with him. What I saw in Contender, I liked his striking. I liked his fight IQ. I liked his rhythm. I think he beats Oliveira. We haven't really seen him in a dog fight, and we haven't really seen his jiu-jitsu. Oliveira did get a takedown on Gravely, and Gravely popped right back up. And it worries. That's the only thing that I worry about here is that I think Oliveira is wild and spastic and crazy, but what he does do well is that guillotine. And I worry that if he does attack, because I think he did that with Gravely. I know he took Gravely down, Gravely popped back up, but I think at some point in a scramble, he got him down and then jumped on his neck. Like, knowing that he wasn't going to keep him down, but instead of trying to hold him down, he jumped on the neck. That's my only worry there. I think Marcos is the better fighter. I think he's a smarter fighter. I think him moving to, where is he at? American
Combat Gym.
Yeah, he's at American Combat Gym with Charles McCarthy these days. Charles Rosa,
yeah. Shorty Torres.
Charles Rosa, yeah. So I think he's going to have a good game plan. I think I like him. We don't know everything. I think I like Marcos. Just Oliveira is just so apish.
Yeah, he's pretty. I don't know about one. Yeah, he's kind of one-dimensional. Yeah. He's going to like kind of stalk you down and throw in your face and then make awful decisions. And honestly, at a plus 135, give me the guy who fucks up less every time.
That's it. Give me the guy that doesn't do the dumb shit.
I'll take a jab and a low kick any day over a spinning back fist and a guillotine.
That's it. And gosh, he is swaggy though. His striking, Marcos is striking. I like it.
I know he's in the room with good guys. I know he is. And just speaking on Brandon Lewis for a minute, because I like Brandon Lewis. He trains down in Florida with Robson Mora. Robson Mora is one of my favorite jiu-jitsu guys of all time. He's amazing. And so Brandon Lewis can grapple. He is a good grappler. And not only did Daniel Marcos just beat the shit out of him, he got him so badly he couldn't grapple. Yeah. He couldn't even get inside. He didn't want to take shots. And I think the same thing happens here. I don't give Saimon Oliveira the grappling upside at all. Like, yeah. Maybe just we don't know. Upside. Just a guillotine. Yeah, that's it. And honestly, just looking at his technique, I don't really think they're that great. Gravely is a wrestler, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's going to get caught. He's going to get caught." Like, I think we're going to be okay on this one.
I think so. All right, who do we have next?
All right, up next we have, we have Luan, Lacerda, and Cody Stamann.
So this is one, you talked about doing some stuff with Enzo. Like, hey, you should have Enzo watch film and this and that. So I watched film with Enzo, my son. I'll put it up. I got to edit it and stuff. and he was talking about it, and I think, man, his breakdowns of fights are as good as any.
Oh yeah.
But he actually afterwards, he's like, yeah, I didn't say too much. I wanted to keep it kind of tame. I wanted to say some other stuff, but I know you guys are filming, and I didn't know if you were gonna post this, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna post it. Don't put the governor on. Like, I wanted full unfiltered, and he goes, oh man, I was gonna say some other stuff, and he kept it kind of calm.
He was gonna hit a little Tony Kelly.
He was gonna hit some Tony Kelly on.
Oh,
He was gonna go full hate. So we're watching this, and Lacerda, he's got this tie stance, okay, which we talked about this yesterday, which you guys didn't get to hear it. There's this weird trend of Brazilian, I would say, MMA fighters coming in with the tie style. It's very upright. It's Charles Oliveira from 4 years ago. Before he wrestled, really upright tie stance, not a lot of movement. And we see that again. So you're
doing either Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu, not all together and not MMA.
And they don't move at all. There's no in and out. And we talked about this with Javid and Mendonça, where for last week, where Mendonça's that Muay Thai guy, and you've got Javid who's like, I'm going to come in and play tag until you mess up, and then I'll start adding on. And we're going to see this a couple of times throughout this fight card. But watch the trend, you guys, when you see these Muay Thai Brazilian style strikers coming in against anybody who moves their feet, bet the other person. I mean, 9 times out of 10, all things considered equal. But we see that a little bit here in Lacerda's stance anyway, where he's very upright, very Muay Thai. I don't think he looks very comfortable standing. He fires his right kick, and he fires it from Brazil. Like, he throws that thing big, he throws it hard. But his boxing, he reaches back when people throw at him, or he throws just that big counter left check hook, which always makes me believe that people are uncomfortable when they throw check hooks too much. I feel like they're not.
People are pressing them, and they're throwing last ditch to get out of there.
They don't want their face in there. When you throw a jab, you throw a right hand, your face is right in the fire. And when you just check hook and kick, it makes me think you're uncomfortable. I think he's a little clunky standing. I think when shit goes down standing, he's going to shoot. When his wrestling's not great, and so he'll shoot and pull guard. And he's a guard puller. So his jiu-jitsu is, I love his jiu-jitsu where he will pull half guard, he will attack a leg, he will use it to scramble. We saw that in his last fight. So I do like that he knows to come up on top and do that stuff. But against Cody Stamann, who I think has a very good skill set, I think Cody Stamann is good. Is he the best? No. Probably his weakest area is actual jiu-jitsu. So that's probably his weakest area. We saw him with the said thing. I mean, whatever. But I think Cody's going to press him and box him. And I think Lacerda's going to shoot, pull guard. And then Cody jumps out of his guard. There's a lot of not engagement. There's oh my God, wait, what? Nope. It's not there. I think it's a boring fight with a lot of flopping that Cody ends up, maybe he gets a TKO, or maybe he just gets a boring flop around decision.
Yeah, so that what you're saying almost reminds me of like the Herbert Burns fight. I
was thinking about
Claudio
that.
Puelles.
Yes.
More so the Claudio Puelles. I would give Luan. I think he's way better than Claudio Puelles. I think his jiu-jitsu is better, and I think his striking is actually a lot better than Claudio. If you told me, like, if I didn't get to watch the fights and then I just came back and saw the results and it was like, Luan Lacerda, TKO, Cody Stamann, I'd be like, I could see it. Like, I could understand that. His striking doesn't look as horrible to me as maybe what you're talking about. But that being said, I don't really see him doing much to Cody Stamann here. I think Cody has every base covered. He trains at Extreme Couture. That's where he is.
Yeah, it's solid camp these days too. Extreme is solid. Like, you get these ebbs and flows of these big camps where when we first started doing this, it was almost like all things equal. If you were at American Top Team, we bet against you. Now American Top Team,
speak for yourself.
It's really good. Kill Cliff, it was like, man, all things equal, they're at Kill Cliff.
They're good.
Yes, and now it's kind of like, oh man, you don't know.
Too many guys in the room.
Yeah, Extreme Couture was kind of like that a little bit too. They get so many guys in, but then they kind of all float up.
Yeah, I just think he gets so many good looks every day. Like honestly, we bag on jiu-jitsu kind of, but the only reason I bag on jiu-jitsu is because I used to be that jiu-jitsu guy. Like, you remember I went through my heel hook phase for a long time, and I just got destroyed every time I went for heel hooks. Like, I understand the jiu-jitsu phase, and that's why I'm just not a fan of it, because I don't think it's as effective against guys who can wrestle their ass off, guys who are comfortable striking, guys who are just complete mixed martial artists. When you're sweaty and you're in there, it's really tough to get a heel hook. It really is tough to get a heel hook.
And people can punch you, and that changes everything in MMA.
Yeah, and get a heel hook and to get a heel hook and scramble to the top against a guy who's very good at scrambling, like Cody Stamann. You're right. I think he's got him covered on the feet, barring that he doesn't get check left hooked or a liver shot or something like that, which would be hard because he's orthodox. I think Cody Stamann's got every base covered here. It's a pretty big money line, so not groundbreaking stuff here, but yeah, I really like Stamann here.
The only thing that I actually wouldn't. You said, it surprised me. It wouldn't surprise me if he got a check hook, a TKO. I actually think what wouldn't surprise me is if he ended up getting like a submission, like a scrambled. Kind of we saw it in his last fight where he's kind of getting beat up, losing. It's funny. Enzo was like, hey, the other guy, I forget who he fought in his last fight. He's like, the other guy has a better shot of beating Cody Stamann the way that he fights than this guy does. He goes, he was actually losing the whole fight. He looked really bad. And then he took the guy's back and choked him out. But other than that, the other guy deserves to be in. Yeah, the other guy deserves to be in the UFC. So that type of thing wouldn't surprise me. He gets beat up and then scrambles, finds.
He actually showed kind of like weirdly good wrestling in there. Like he had that one where it was a pretty fast shot.
Nice
and he hit
takedown
that
right
low
off the
single.
bat.
Yeah, but then he just started pulling guard, and it just shows me that he's not got the reps wrestling. Yeah. I think he could be a good wrestler, but just not yet. And he's not going to out wrestle Cody Stamann.
I don't think so.
All right. Next up, what do we have? Let's see. So next up, we are on Josiane, Nunes, and Zarah Fairn.
All right, so this is a weird one in the sense where, what are they doing with these two girls? We've talked about Josiane a couple times. What is her marketing upside, and why does the UFC keep giving her? She got brought in to lose against
Bea
Malecki, and who's this like tall, gorgeous Swedish.
She's the one that
woman,
you got the
one
eye
who got
on.
away. The one who got away. So they brought her in for her. She ends up beating the shit out of her. Bea Malecki is just barely coming back to sparring now.
I was going to say, first of all, one of the saddest things ever.
Yes, crazy. So then that happens, and then they give her Pasquale. I mean, were they trying to build Pasquale hoping that she got the win, or what were they doing?
I think they know the deal.
But they brought her in, so I don't know.
I think that was a Josiane Nunes one that they were trying to build.
So then why? And then now they're giving Josiane Nunes, Zarah, what the hell is her name?
Zarah Fairn?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who's another woman who's just really bad everywhere. And then so it's like, what are they doing? I just don't get what they're doing. Like the marketing side, even like Josiane Nunes, she's at 145. She's you freaked me out right there. Oh my gosh, you're pointing at me at everything. So she's at 145. She's very short. She's not overly skilled. She's tough as shit. Man. She really is. She's got good cardio. She's got good fight. But what are they doing? Like, I mean, have her drop to 35. Like, I just don't get what they're doing with it. Anyway, her opponent, Ferris, I don't even know her name. I've looked at it. I always keep thinking Ferris I am, and it's not Ferris I am.
Yeah, pretty close. They're siblings, I guess.
Like Darren or whatever. She like reaches. She doesn't like to get hit. She comes in with her right hand just loaded and like rushing, like angled, almost like she's gonna throw a ball or like a javelin or something. And then she gets taken down, is atrocious on the ground. The only upside, she has a good, powerful right hand. She's very big. And she will tie clinch and knee, which is my only worry about this whatsoever is 5'1" Nunes just kind of running into a clinch. And we saw Pasquale throw a couple knees right up the middle on her. My only worry here is that with the money, I mean, I think Pasquale was like minus 600 or something last I looked. Something insane, which is insane to say that.
Not
Pasquale, I'm sorry, Nunes.
Yeah.
Nunes is minus 600 over here. I think Nunes wins. I think she's probably a safe pick, but to say that, even I feel dirty for letting those words come out of my mouth. Like I feel like I need to shower and apologize for that. And then at minus 600, though, I don't think there's any value in it. So I think you kind of skip this fight, but I just am confused with what the hell is going on here.
Yeah, I'm looking. The round set is at 1.5. I'm so bad at these over-unders, the rounds and stuff like that when it's set at when I'm not doing an alternate line. Yeah, that's hard because it's like having a 1.5 rounds on a flyweight fight. Like, even if they look dangerous and it looks like a tee-up matchup, it's just always such a liability. But I think you could do Nunes inside the distance. I mean, that seems like the easiest play here because I think her win condition is a knockout or a finish because Zarah quits almost every fight. The second she starts getting hit in the face more than one time, she's like, all right, I'm good. No more of that for me, please. This actually, you know, what's funny is this reminds me of like Meatball Molly in England, right? Meatball Molly was a massive favorite, almost the same build and style, just kind of come forward with punches. I think she's finishing her. I think this is a don't overthink it fight. Her day is going to come. Believe me. I'm not saying she's a world beater. People are on her and they're like, oh my God, lock of the century. I am not going out like that. I'm not going to die on that hill because honestly, she's got bad cardio, horrible takedown defense. Her tape was super rough pre-UFC. Yes, she came forward and knocked out a couple girls, but man, she's not the one. It's just not going to be this fight. So I think inside the distance, Josiane Nunes, I'm going to go probably under 2.5 just to be safe, or fight doesn't go, looks super great for me, and use that as a parlay piece.
Okay, I like it. What's up? What's up next?
All right. Next up, I was just on the, all right. Next up, we have Warlley Alves and Nicolas Dalby.
Okay, talk about this one. I'm going to turn these lights down a little bit as you're talking.
All right. He's going to go MIA. All right. Now I have my chance to look into the mic. Make sweet love. Just kidding. Yeah, I love this fight. I'm going to bet big on this one. You know, we went in this really in depth yesterday. So I told you guys like Warlley Alves was the first guy that I ever bet on against Jeremiah Wells. I went over to Santino's house. We watched every single Jeremiah Wells fight, every single Warlley Alves fight, and we both came to the conclusion like Warlley's going to kill this guy. Warlley's solid. And Jeremiah Wells, he's got this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. And then to my dismay, the next day, Jeremiah Wells blew him out of the water. It was awful. Like the first day that I'm like, all right, now I'm going to be serious about this gambling stuff. Yeah, but in this matchup, I love Warlley Alves. You look at all of Nicolas Dalby's last fights, he's going life or death with these guys who are in their 40s, who have cardio problems. They're still winning rounds against him. He's getting gift decisions. He's making fights super close with 40-year-olds. I know Warlley's been gone a long time, and he lost that last fight pretty badly. But the fight before that, he KO'd Mounir Lazzez with body kicks. Now, do I think he would have won that had that been extended? Probably not. But I think he's super talented. Beat the shit out of Randy Brown, I guess, until he got caught. But I think skill for skill, the guy's amazing. I think in Brazil helps a lot. I think his forward pressure, I think just the power that he throws with. I love the optics of it. I love how the crowd's going to play into this. I love the play on Warlley Alves, especially at -125, or if you got it before, like that's an awesome line for you. I think I'm going to play Warlley Alves pretty decent here.
Man, I remember you coming over. I remember loving Warlley, and then being shocked with
the result of that
result. But since then, who is Jeremiah Wells? He's actually proven to be like
he's KOing everybody.
Yeah, he's a solid guy. He's a solid guy. 38 is scary. You know, Dalby is older, of course, but he hasn't really shown chin issues. I mean, he's
shown his ass on Instagram.
What?
Oh yeah.
People are weird. God damn. Don't be weird on the Discord and don't be weird on Instagram, you guys. Like that's the only advice
that's
I can
for
give
Snapchat, you guys.
Yeah. So like I mean I don't like he's 38, but he hasn't shown chin issues. You know, I mean he got dropped by Ronson, but he kind of ran right in, and Ronson actually has good power. Ronson's actually a good kickboxer. He's not bad. My issue is Warlley Alves. Like I feel like he's not the guy who we watched tape on back then. I feel like that's one of those things, like, we're going to talk about Neil Magny. Neil Magny is the guy who was Neil Magny, who was amazing, but he's not that guy anymore. And that's what I feel like Warlley Alves. I feel like, I don't know if it was USADA or getting chinned too many times or the wars or what. I worry that the Warlley Alves who fought Usman to a decision, who submitted Colby Covington, doesn't exist anymore. I feel like that's not here.
That was almost a fluke, but man, he's got a great guillotine.
He has a beautiful... So, Warlley Alves has a great guillotine. So does Saimon Oliveira. You know,
no, he does not.
And I'm not...
Those are not like each other.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that he's comparing. I guess my point is that he knows about, as long as you know about the guillotine, all right, that's a thing. So I don't know that he has like just some amazing jiu-jitsu as a whole. He's got a good guillotine. So Dalby's volume is good. His cardio is good. His like takedown defense is not great, but he somehow wiggles and goes crazy. And Alves fades. Like he doesn't fade horribly, but he definitely slows down. He's got good power, but he throws kind of loopy and a little loose. I think Dalby's going to win a split decision here, a very close decision. It pains me to say it. I think the Warlley Alves that we know and love and we're impressed with, I don't think we're ever going to see that guy show up again.
That's so weird to say wins a split decision. How do you figure wins a split decision?
I shouldn't say a split decision. Fight. I mean a close fight. Like, It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me to see the fight go to a split decision one way or the other. And I think that all of the rounds are going to be like,
closely contested.
How do you score that? Like, how do you score it? Was that, Alves was on top for 2.5 minutes, but when they were standing, Dalby did so much work and blah, blah, blah. So I shouldn't say that it's going to be a split decision. It wouldn't surprise me to be a split decision, but I think all of the rounds are going to be closely contested. Unless, but if Alves would just wrestle, I mean, that's it. It's there. But I don't think he does.
And if the path is that easy, then I don't know how you don't play Warlley Alves here, especially as a close to pick 'em line. Like, I love Alves here.
Yeah. I'm not sold.
Fair enough. You don't have to be. I'll keep making the money. All right. Next up. So are you on Dalby? That's your official pick?
That's my official pick.
All right.
I'm going Dalby.
Sorry to hear it. Okay, next up we have Terrance McKinney and Ismael Bonfim.
Wait, okay, so one thing I got to say, I almost want to just retract on something more. We brought this up yesterday. We'll talk about it a little bit more today. These theme cards, the Brazil cards, the France cards, these other cards, generally the Brazilians always win. Like the French always win. When you're, you know what I mean? Is you're in Europe, the Europeans always beat the other guys.
Yep.
Yeah, so that stuff always happens. In Brazil, we always see the Brazil, like, I don't want to say there's 10 Brazilians on a card, 9 of them win. Like, it's almost like setup fights. Now, that said, I think this card is the least of any of those themed cards. I think a lot of the more Brazilians are going to lose than normally would on these situations. But that alone actually makes me want to retract because I think there are some other Brazilians who are going to lose. And just a numbers game.
That means Warlley's going to win.
Almost means Warlley is going to win.
Surely that means he's going to win.
Almost on a close fight. On a close fight, it almost makes me go, just these weird statistics and these things being in Brazil.
Well, Brazil's starting 0-2, which means there's got to be some kind of regression.
Yeah. All right. You guys. Brandon,
going back to Warlley?
I'm going. Warlley is going to win the close.
God,
the close
that was
decision.
easy.
The close decision. All right. Go back.
All right. Next up, this is the fight that everybody's been chit-chatting about. Ismael Bonfim and Terrance McKinney.
Okay, so I got to go back on the Warlley fight because I'm going to talk about this McKinney fight in a second. Warlley's absolutely going to win, you guys. Warlley is absolutely going to win. They're not going to go 0-3, the Brazilians in a row, and they won't go 0-4 in a row. All right, Terrance McKinney. Tell us about Terrance. Tell us about Bonfim. I think I went first on the last one.
I love Bonfim. I really... Yeah, get the close-up. I love Bonfim, and here's why I like Bonfim. His striking is fun. Actually, the way they throw punches, like, I know he doesn't have a lot of knockouts, but he throws punches with vigor. Like, he's trying to hurt you. The way that he cocks it back and he throws it, and he follows through those really, really long punches. The thing with Terrance McKinney is I think, on any given night can beat anybody in the world. He really is that athletic. He hits like a truck, but he also takes a lot of damage from people he shouldn't be getting touched up by. And that's a big problem for him. And then the second thing is that he doesn't know how to fight yet still. Like, he just has never known how to fight. He's so freakishly athletic, has so much power, can wrestle so well that he fights at such paces that are so unsustainable. So if he doesn't put out Bonfim in the first minute or 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then what? Then what does he do? Because him wrestling that hard, he has dynamic wrestling. It's not like slow wrestling where he's bear hugging people and grinding them against the cage. These are blast doubles and he's swinging to the outside and he's doing everything that just requires so much energy. And I think Bonfim is talented. I really think he's talented. So you give Bonfim 15 minutes for McKinney to get tired and Bonfim to take it to him. And it's not saying that Bonfim's even bad striker. I think he can win without McKinney getting tired. I think he can outpoint him, outstrike him. We saw Ghost Pepper tagging McKinney quite a bit, right? And that guy's not in the UFC anymore. So, man, I mean, outside of a first round finish, I just see Bonfim just outclassing McKinney everywhere. One, maybe due to fatigue, and two, no, due to fatigue, I would say. And honestly, probably better striking technique. The reason that I think that McKinney's a favorite here is it accounts for his wrestling. It accounts for if he goes out there, shoots a double, just like the Fares DM fight, takes his back and tries to choke him out. I really think he's that athletic, but jiu-jitsu for jiu-jitsu, I don't know that he's going to be better than Bonfim. So I don't think he's going to choke out Bonfim like he did to ZM. So for me, I think I'm going to have to make a big play on Bonfim here.
Man, that is... This is a weird one because this one goes against a lot of the Bible that we talk about in terms of McKinney. If you bet McKinney, Bonfim is really good. He doesn't really kick much. Do we see either of the Bonfims kick much? This one kicks a little bit more than the older one, but he's basically boxing.
They're all hands.
He basically shells up. He's good. He's technical. His wrestling defense, you see, but here's the thing with the wrestling defense is he's going against Brazilians. And
good point.
Like, so he looks the part, but Brazilian wrestling, I think it actually used to be better. I think Brazilians used to be better at wrestling than they are right now currently, we'll say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because what they did is they were so good striking and they just defensively wrestled. Look at Jose Aldo. Yeah. His defensive wrestling was really good. They had very good defensive wrestling. Something has happened along the way where they got away from that, whatever they were doing cage-wise, blocking, defending the wrestling, and they're starting to wrestle more, but it's bad wrestling. Almost a mix of jiu-jitsu and wrestling. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but...
It's funky. They're all like Damian Maia now. Like, just weird, funky, like, trying to drag you down, but can't quite.
I don't know. I'm not overly thrilled with the state of MMA in Brazil right now. I feel like their actual jiu-jitsu, they've gotten away from their jiu-jitsu. Their wrestling has changed a little bit.
We're going to be the toughest, most athletic guys and just throw the fuck down.
Yeah.
And if I'm see, that's the problem. That's why I think this theme card is going to be so different than the rest of the theme cards, just because Brazilians in general, not to generalize a whole nation of people, there are some that are better than others, but they have zero game planning. And once you're on your back, okay, now we're playing jiu-jitsu because that's the Brazilian way. And when we're striking, we're throwing down, but we're not really setting things up and setting traps and getting, getting, what do you call it?
Back up to your feet or like...
No, what I'm saying is getting your patterns, like understanding things. We're just throwing, and I'm going to show you I hit harder and I'm faster than you. And if I win by knockout, I win by knockout. I
feel like people have watched Charles Oliveira's success, and they're trying to emulate that, but you can't emulate the ability to finish. And that is what Charles has. It's like people trying to emulate Dominic Cruz. You can't. You can take some of the stuff that Dominic Cruz does with his footwork, and you can kind of pattern it and make it your own, but you cannot be Dominic Cruz.
And that's why I don't even try to mimic him, because I know I can never do it, and I'm going to miss something along the way, and it's going to get me hurt.
Yes. And so Bonfim is doing fine. He's very good. He's very technical. He's not. His last 3 fights have been decisions against fine, okay, decent Brazilians. But I'm not certain that he's... The thing that gets me about Bonfim is that he doesn't have that killer instinct. He's not going in there for the kill. And I think against a McKinney, you've got to go in for the kill. Don't you like...
I think you said this yesterday, that McKinney gave up in the Dober fight. Now, that was a hectic fight.
And Dober is a different freaking animal.
Yes, he
Dober is unbelievable.
But a lot of those times when you fight guys like McKinney, you just have to stick around long enough for him to give up. You don't have to be a finisher. You just have to survive the storm, and then you're going to be there when he's tired and he's ready to give up, and Bonfim's going to be in his face beating his ass.
Here's my worry, though, is like I think, look, Dober hurt him and got on top and beat him up when he was tired. I think if McKinney is tired but not hurt, I think he'll still be able to get the takedown and drag out a decision.
I don't know. Okay, there is one trend that I do like. So yesterday this fight was not announced. Now it is announced. Bruna Brazil is making her return. Bruna Brazil is sick. And this is the one thing that Brazilians have been doing lately, and this is what I like. They're not wrestling, can't wrestle at all. But they're using judo, to counter wrestle
Yes.
and get on top. So, Marnik Man in the Contender Series fight was shooting shooting doubles. And every single time she'd get it on the hips, Bruno would hit the little judo toss.
Yep.
What is it? The Uchimata?
Yep.
Hit an Uchimata, face plant her right on her ass. And Bonfim did that in that fight. The guy shot in on his legs, boom, right on his ass.
Terrance McKinney is such a good wrestler that if he does that, he's going to lose in the scramble. If Bonfim does that, it's going to be a detriment because it'll actually put them on the mat where he's going to lose that scramble against McKinney. I think he'd be better served to go on the cage, defend, try and skirt his way out. But I think if he tries to hip toss McKinney, he's going to end up with McKinney on his back in the transition.
I like that this Bonfim can put together 15 solid minutes. I think if it was the other Bonfim, then it's a complete coin toss of a fight, and that should actually be where the odds are. I can't believe that Bonfim is a dog because I love a guy who can put together 15 solid minutes.
Yeah. This is a hard one in the sense where McKinney is so athletic. His wrestling is really that good. We saw what he did with Ferris I.M. He did not strike with him at all. He just shot in. Boom,
and then how Ferris did after that.
Yes, exactly. So we saw that. I mean that was, and then, but McKinney leaves a lot to be desired in the stand-up department. Like he is just not technically sound, but he's so athletic. We saw what he did with who was his debut? Steamroller Frivola.
Yeah,
Matt Frivola. I thought Frivola is the more technical guy. He's got the experience. He's got all of the stuff, and McKinney just starched him. It was just like, wow, holy crap, that happened. This is a 50-50 for me, basically, in the terms of like Bonfim has a cardio. He does all the right stuff, and he's very good. And then you just have that guy that's just that athletic and gifted. And I don't
say he's black.
Huh? Is he?
Oh.
I don't see athleticism in terms of black and white.
I don't see color.
Yeah. I mean, I just see
John Jones, Terrance McKinney.
What color are your pants? Are they color? I don't even know. I don't know colors. My pronouns are colorless and there. So, like, man, I think all things said, I got to go McKinney here. I think he's gonna just out athleticism, and I think Bonfim is gonna be very good in his UFC career. But I think McKinney is just gonna. I think he's just that much of a better athlete.
Last thing I'll say on this, McKinney is always on Twitter. He is always on Twitter, and he sees everything. He comments on stuff that he's not tagged in. He is always on this. And one thing it seems like with him is he lets comments get to him, and he feels like he has to address everything. And he's always in business. So they're flying him to Brazil to fight in this guy's hometown or home country. I think that affects him. I think he's very sensitive. He almost reminds me of like Jay Perrin in a way. Like Jay Perrin was just going at everybody, talking to everybody on Twitter, concerning himself with what everybody says. And now Terrance is literally going into the lion's den, and they're going to chant the or whatever it is that, oh, you're going to die. Man, I think that his head gets to him, and he either goes out guns blazing in one round, or he's going to get a beating on him. And I think a lot of that stuff's going to be mental for him.
Interesting. All right, who do we have? Let's move along because we're like, hey, we're going to run through these. I think we're taking more time than we were yesterday.
We might be, but that was a fun one.
That's one of the fun ones of the card. I think that's. Oh, here's another thing too. I would never let I have, but I won't anymore. I will not let brothers fight on the same card because the adrenaline level is really weird. Generally, the first one doesn't matter. The second one of the card matters because the second one is watching the first one fight, and they're emotional about it, and that messes them up even more.
All right, so next up, with this one we can make it quick. Jailton Almeida versus Shamil Abdurakhimov.
Almeida at minus 1,000 doesn't interest anyone. You got to see the lines. Almeida round one, Almeida inside the distance. But
it's a coin flip of how he's going to win and how early he wins.
Exactly. Almeida is good. He is that good. He is that athletic. His Shamil is old and getting his last paycheck and riding off into the sunset.
I just want nothing to do with this fight. Even the over-under set at 1.5 rounds, and it's juiced to minus 350. No interest in that for me. What's the point? Yeah, no interest. Just enjoy that fight. And then let's see how Jailton looks. I mean, he can wrestle his ass off. He out-wrestled the Russian, the Dagestani. His jiu-jitsu is solid. He hits hard on the feet. let's just take notes on this one again, because they're going to give him a step up eventually, and we need to see his cardio. We need to see the raw skills, and maybe this guy will be better than the last few. Who knows? We'll see. I want nothing to do with this fight.
Yeah, Almeida, they're building him correctly and giving him the time to advance, to challenge. Like, they're giving him the slow pace.
A freak athlete at heavyweight. He gets to go against all the fat guys.
Now it's basically, how does he do? Does he prove himself? Like, how does he look type of thing.
All right. So I think we're both on Jailton.
No, not me. I was actually... No, I'm just
going to go the other way. All right. So then next up, we have Gabriel, Bonfim, and Mounir, Lazzez. Why don't you kick this one off?
Okay, so I'm going to go on this one. First of all, Lazzez, gosh, I switched it on me again. I'm like, I cannot fathom how red I am right now. Like, I don't even know.
It's the hat. It's giving you the shades. No, it's
not
the
hat.
hat.
It is not the hat. I don't know. And then it's like, I don't know, why is everything weird? And it's so weird because yesterday everything was fine. Like, it was like, I don't know, lighting, like you said. I don't know.
I told you guys, it was the perfect podcast. We gave out 100% winners. We got the script.
And today, we're giving out all losers, and I'm orange.
And yeah, the lighting's off.
So this is where we're at. And it probably won't even record, all things said and done. So, first of all, Mounir Lazzez, is that even how you say that? Like,
oh, yeah.
Jeez. That sounds so... I feel like I just spit up spaghetti.
Mounir Lazzez.
Right? It's weird. Anyway, so Lazzez is good, man. Really good striking. He moves in and out. He throws too many lead elbows for my liking. I like that he throws them, and I like that he mixes those in, but he does it a little bit too much. As people press him, he throws those stabby knees as well. Beautiful range, beautiful footwork. Takedown defense is getting better, even will offensively wrestle. I really think he's the truth. I think he's really good. I think he's talented. I think we're going to see him move up the ranks, throughout his career. And then we have the other Bonfim, which we just talked about. First of all, I mean, he's the second one to fight, so the adrenaline is going to be nuts for him. I think he's fine. I think his boxing is what we talked about. It's that striking of, it's that Brazilian plod forward and go. And I think Lazzez is just going to honestly pick him apart. I don't know if he's going to finish him, but I think Lazzez's movement and fight IQ and just level of striking, his level of striking is really good. He has beautiful low kicks. He moves in and out. He finds stuff. He is legitimately really good. And Bonfim is a bigger, slightly less good version of his brother. I think he's tough. I think he'll do okay. It's weird because I really do like both of the Bonfim brothers. I think they're both very technically good, but I don't think they're so amazingly technical where they're just going to piece people apart. And then they don't have that hate in their heart where they just throw and swing where they're going to catch people. And that's my issue with them is they play in that middle ground. They're not overly athletic. They're fine. They're not overly they're Carlos Hernandez, who just fought Alan Nascimento. That's who they are to me. They're very good in most areas, but when they fight somebody who's so athletic or so technical or so some superlative somewhere, those are the guys they're going to lose to. And I think they're going to win and lose very close fights in the UFC. And I think they're both decent, but Lazzez is that good. And I think the being okay everywhere is not going to be good enough to beat the very good striker of Lazzez. I'm so with you on that one. Yesterday when we shot this, Lazzez was plus 160, and I was like, okay, now it's time to get some good money down. And then I ended up waiting until today, which is Wednesday, and plus 150 now. And I was like, I keep missing this because honestly, this line should be much closer. Honestly, I thought Lazzez would be the favorite. He should be the favorite. Yeah. I just, you've got UFC experience. The guy is just, he minds his P's and Q's when it comes to striking. He honestly reminds me of Fiziev in a lot of ways, where it's just like he can anticipate everything coming before it comes, and he just, as long as he's not getting chinned or he's 3 body kicks from well, that's
Warlley.
it. Like, don't come at us with he got knocked out by the body shots of Warlley. First of all, Bonfim doesn't kick, and second, we talked about this. Like, Fiziev got spinning back heel kicked and dropped in his debut. Shit happens.
Yeah. But he's got really good takedown defense. His fight IQ is on point. And then you're going to go to just 100% striking affair. And I'm going to take the guy who's been striking his whole life, who really is that good, over the guy that doesn't kick very much, throws ones and twos. This is a massive step up. This is not even...
his debut.
It's not even the same realm. You're getting Mounir Lazzez on your debut, and Lazzez as an underdog just seems insanity to me. So I've already got a good play on Lazzez, and I want to make a bigger play on Lazzez. I just think he's the man. I think he really is that good.
I love it.
All right.
What do we got? Who's next?
So up next, let's see what we got. There's a lot of good dog money on this card. I like it. Thiago Moises and Melquizael Costa.
I don't think too much has to be said on this, especially because we're trying to, keep things a little brief. Costa's a last-minute replacement. Moises was supposed to fight Lazzez, who's just phenomenal. And Moises' losses are a fourth-round finish to Makhachev, a loss to Damir Ismagulov. And first of all, how sad is it that Damir is not fighting anymore?
It's a tragedy. I love that guy so much.
That guy's amazing. So did we ever find out what... They said there's some health issues, but I don't know if we ever heard what...
I don't know if any more needs to be said.
Yeah. Gosh, I hate that. But Thiago Moises really is good. He's not overly athletic. He fights above his rank and pay grade and athleticism. But he's very good. Costa is a very good regional fighter who I think is... He's not bad anywhere, but he just doesn't shine. I think he's the traditional Muay Thai guy that we talked about in the Brazilian, kind of respect. He's good. He's tough. He comes forward. I think the only way that he could win this is if he just goes out there, balls out, guns blazing, and can clip Thiago just off the bat. The adrenaline has him, and he just comes out guns firing. Other than that, I think Thiago's probably going to finish him in a round one submission.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I love Thiago Moises. Just you actually, I think, stole what I said yesterday. I think that he fights up, definitely fights up. Like, his athleticism is so low, and his body and his frame is just not ideal. But his skills are so excellent that he compensates for everything that he's kind of lacking. Right? He can go out and get starched by a guy like Joel Alvarez, which honestly, I think if they fought 50 times, he's winning 48 of those by taking Joel down, beating his ass. He's better. But he can get starched at any time. He can get starched. So really, it's just going to come down to, do you want to pay that huge price tag? This kid is full of piss and vinegar. It's his UFC debut. He's been fighting and super active in the LFA. I could always see him starch Moises. Moises is always liable to have that happen. But skill for skill, I just think he really is the truth. It's going to be hard to beat him in a decision. I'm going to go with the guy, better camp, better skills, not on short notice. For me, it's
What's
Thiago
the money
Moises.
on Thiago Moises first round?
Oh, you're going to ask me to really dig deep.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we'll see. If you guys find that, throw it in the comments. But yeah, I think that's a play right here. We saw it with Christos Thiagos. I think he gets taken down. I think
they don't even have it listed, so
okay.
We're good.
So, all right. What do we have next?
All right. Up next, we have Gregory Rodriguez and Bruno Ferreira.
Kick it off.
Okay, so we said this yesterday, and I thought I made such a really good. I thought I made a really good comparison. So Bruno Ferreira reminds me a lot of AJ Fletcher. AJ Fletcher, when you watch the tape, you're like, okay, I could understand the flaws that he may have, but on film and on tape, he's not giving us a chance to show those flaws. It's not like his wrestling was horrible or his cardio was bad in the film, right? He was beating guys and beating them exactly how he's supposed to beat the guys. I think the same thing with Bruno Ferreira. Like, he's not showing you any glaring holes where you're like, man, this guy's awful. He's beating guys even better than he's supposed to beat them, right? The tape's not giving you anything wrong. It's not like he's starching these guys first round because he's coming out, closing his eyes and putting his head down and swinging, right? He's actually looking technical. He's bouncing on his feet, and he's finishing the guys because he just hits hard and catches them where they can't see the punch coming. So that's hard. It's hard to get a gauge on that. And then RoboCop, we know RoboCop for what he is, right? He's a good striker. He's come a long way with his hands and his technical ability. His jiu-jitsu, weirdly, I think is almost the worst part of his game. And he's like I
would agree with that.
He's a jiu-jitsu world champion at purple belt, which is like the hardest belt
minus
to
his
win.
chin. His chin is the worst part of his game.
Okay, minus his chin. But he's a purple belt world champion in the IBJJF, which is like the most competitors per division. So it's one of the hardest to win. And he constantly makes awful decisions, right? Like pre-tape, he was going for arm bars from mount or pre-UFC tape and losing him. He let Junyon Park just literally stand up when he had the back, like little things that are just horrible. And then he has glimpses of looking great. I wish that he would just take guys down and get their back and choke them out and call it a day. He loves to stand and bang. He loves to get chinned a couple times, look like he's on going to have a cardio death, and then still find a way to come back and win. But I think it's hard to get in front of this momentum that RoboCop has. And the other guy's never been extended out of the first. I think RoboCop probably finishes him kind of however he wants. Takedown, knockout. I think this is a good spot for Robo.
Yeah, the thing about Bruno is he's slow. He's slow and he's unathletic and he's clunky and he's not like overly tall with a tall reach, and he's good. He's fine. He seems to hit hard because he's putting people down. He's at a really big height disadvantage. It's a pay-per-view, so it's a big cage. RoboCop is long. He's rangy. He's fast. I mean, outside of getting clipped, I don't see it. He should be undefeated in the UFC, even though he does get chinned too much, but he's fighting much higher level guys. I think outside of some weirdness or flukeness, I think RoboCop is the better fighter. I think he's a more athletic guy. I think he's a faster guy. He should win this. He should win this. Like, it would be kind of a crazy upset in my head if he were to lose this.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, short notice, like that's an easy one, I believe.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we're cruising right along. This is a long fight card.
It is a long fight card. It's a lot.
Sometimes there are treats where we get like 12 fights and we can kind of cruise through them. I was starting tape on Monday morning and I'm like, oh my God, 15 fights. This is insane. This is insane. But all right. Next up.
And we have a lot of guys on this card who are newcomers or we haven't seen a lot or we've got to watch. Like, you can't just
brush up.
Yeah, you can't
you have
just
to start
watch,
all over.
Yep. You got to go from the beginning.
Okay. So next up, we have Mauricio Shogun Hua and Ihor Potieria.
Man, this is a hard one for my heart because, I mean, Shogun's better everywhere. Ihor is a guy who goes out guns blazing. His record is padded. He's not very good. We saw him against Negamranu, and we called that one to a T. And I remember Ihor, we said, all right, Ihor's going to go out, have a good round, big round one, and then he's going to fade out and he's going to get finished. Negamrano's got a good chin. He can wrestle. He's got power, all the stuff. And I remember in my head, Ihor doing more and swinging more and like really having like moments where it was like, oh man, Negamrano, no. But I don't think he did anything and he gassed out. He was kind of weak. But there's that. On the other side of it, you have Hua, who in his last fight against OSP, he didn't even try to win. Like, that was the worst fight I've seen in a very long time.
I might have actually fell asleep during the fight. I think I was at the fight and I fell asleep.
It was horrible. It was OSP just throwing teep kicks and then, Shogun kind of blocking him, swinging every once in a while. It was bad. Then you get the fight before that against Paul Craig. I mean, he didn't look horrible right off the bat, and then he got taken down, and there was that. God, Shogun is old. He's just old. That's all there is to it. He's slow. I mean, I think if Shogun if Ihor gasses out horribly and Shogun gets a trip takedown and gets on top, I think Shogun will TKO him and murder him. I just don't see Shogun attacking and going and doing all of the things that he needs to do that. He's just there. And even if this was 2, 3, 4 years ago, I would say Shogun all the way. Shogun is better. If they were trained, God, it kills me to see this. I feel like the UFC was trying to give him the worst possible fighter.
And they did.
And
he's still not going to win.
But I think you're right. I think Ihor's going to go out there just swinging for the fences. I hope Shogun wins. I hope Ihor gasses himself out. And this is something to bet live. If Shogun does get past kind of the 3-minute mark or the 4-minute mark and you see Ihor swinging and he does gas himself out, live bet this thing. If the odds makers, if they give you decent lines on it, if he weathers the storm, bet Shogun live.
Yeah, I think this is we're not fans of Ihor. I think skill for skill, he's not very good. His contender series, he looked amazing. He knocked that guy into... Oh my
he's
God.
At ATT now, right?
Yeah, he's been at ATT.
That's going to toughen him up.
It's going to toughen him up. It's going to get him real coaching. It's going to give him real looks against real guys.
You know what it's going to do? It's going to do for him what Extreme Couture did to Edben Shabazian, where Shabazian was all balls to the wall and then he would just quit.
Yep.
It's going to force him to push through those quit moments
And you got to spar with real guys.
Yes.
And see what it really looks like. I know he's not winning those rounds in the room, but honestly, does it matter at this point? You got 41-year-old Shogun. I'll tell you guys, in fighting, the Nick Negumereanu style, I love betting Nick Negumereanu because you know what he's going to give you, and he's only going to lose to guys that are really sharp counterpunchers that hit very hard, like Olberg. We all knew he was going to lose that fight, and we knew he was going to win the Ihor fight because he will walk through hell. He's going to press you, and if you have any semblance of cardio issues, he's willing to drag you to hell and bring that cardio death upon both of you. And he'll still stand there swinging, right?
He's okay getting tired.
He's okay getting tired. He knows you're going to fade first. And that fight's what happened, right? He stalks Ihor down. He's throwing big punches. He's mixing in the wrestling. Like, that's an exhausting style to deal with. It really is an exhausting style to deal with. I don't know that Shogun is capable of pushing a pace hard enough to gas Ihor like that. If he fights him like he did OSP, Ihor stands there, southpaw, throws big punches, has big moments, and he wins a decision. Yeah. If he goes
even if he's dead tired, he can. If he's dead tired, Shogun's not going to push him in red line.
Yeah, Shogun's going to still stay at range and throw leg kicks, and he's not going to push Ihor hard enough to get get that cardio death. Yeah. And I think Ihor is just younger. He's more spry. He shows big moments. His hands are okay.
He's fast, and he is fast.
He's fast, and I can't see this going much different. Like we talk about a world where
why wouldn't they give Shogun another legacy fight, like an old guy to sail off on the sunset?
Well, they tried to, and then it was OSP.
Oh, man, that was brutal.
Yeah, I hate to say it because again, I don't think Ihor is UFC quality, at least right now. Maybe sometime at ATT, a few more fights under his belt, but I mean, it's hard for me to picture him losing in this spot to an old Shogun.
Yeah. Well. Way to bring the whole room down, Brandon.
I know. All right, we just need to go home after this one.
I'm out.
All right, next up we have Paul Craig and Johnny Walker.
Man, I love a Johnny Walker fight. Just watching, I'm always intrigued to see what's going to happen. Like it's like Michelle Pereira. Let's watch some dumb shit. Like
his knockouts, I hate to be brutal about it. His knockouts are like some of the most like hysterical knockouts ever. Like when he gets knocked out, where he just springs and then falls. Like it's so dramatic. You think I thought he was faking it each and every time.
It's wild. So I love, I don't know. I love a Johnny Walker fight, but I think he's better than we all think he is.
I think we all think he's good, right?
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of people just think he's an ape that just gets lucky. But I think his jiu-jitsu is actually decent. I think his striking is good. He does the dynamic stuff. He just makes really, I wouldn't even say bad decisions. Which they are bad. But I think he's just a showman. I think he just wants to do the wild stuff. Yeah. So I don't think he's actually like that dumb. I think he just wants to put on a show that much. And then those decisions end up being bad decisions. We know what we're getting with Paul Craig. I mean, he's going to swing, he's going to shoot, he's going to pull guard. With Johnny Walker, I think Johnny Walker's jiu-jitsu is good enough to not get submitted if he does get dragged down there for a little bit. I think his takedown defense is actually good. I think his range is good, and he's huge. He's really big. So it's going to be hard for Paul Craig to really get inside without eating a flying knee or a front kick. I like Walker here. I like Walker here kind of a lot. I don't know if he finishes or if it goes to a decision. Is it what we talked about with the Lacerda fight? Does Paul Craig shoot in and pull guard and Johnny Walker standing up and moving away enough like that? Or does he end up getting a flying knee to the face? I think Walker money line is solid here. I really love it.
I'm on the same page with you. I hate betting these styles where like everyone goes, every Paul Craig fight is an auto bet Craig submission. And I'm like, okay, yes, you would have hit that a million times and hey, good for you. But man, I can never get to a Paul Craig bet ever. I just can't. Chin up in the air. He gasses out. He puts himself in positions to lose the fight constantly. And occasionally he gets that Hail Mary sub. And I just don't think Johnny Walker's the guy, right? To beat Johnny Walker, you press him and you tag that chin and he has a comical knockout. I think he's just too skilled and too talented. And the more that we think about this, right? I lost a ton of money on the Nikita Krylov fight when he fought Paul Craig. Nikita Krylov knocked him out and knocked him back to consciousness like 3 different times.
And Krylov is good, man.
He really is good.
He really is good.
I think that Johnny Walker, he is so dynamic and so big. I think instead of knocking him out and knocking him back to consciousness, he just knocks him out.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think chin up in the air.
Walk off.
He's rushing in. Boom.
Yep.
That's it. That's wraps. And he does enough different angles where Krylov is very traditional, very stationary. I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to box. I think that Johnny Walker is going to throw some good looks at him, some elbows, some big straight punches. And I think this is goodbye, Paul Craig.
I like it.
All right.
What do we have? Burns next? Burns and
no. You missed my Super Bowl.
Oh, Andrade?
Jessica Andrade and Lauren Murphy.
All right, well, tell us about your Super Bowl, Brandon.
No, actually, I really don't want to bet this one. I hate to say that. I really don't want to bet on this one. I know Andrade is good, and I know, I got to shout out Mike's MMA picks. He DM'd me last week, and it brought a tear to my eye. I love the guy. I know he's been waiting on this one. He's ready to load up that big 11-unit max bet on Jessica Andrade. Again, it's just hard for me to get there. I know she's skilled. I know she's talented. I know she's fought the best of the best in the division. She's just short and small, and I don't know, the volatility with women's MMA, I'm just not interested in paying that massive of a price, especially for someone who's as durable as Lauren Murphy has been. It's hard for me to find a way to put serious money on this fight. Maybe I'll take a chance at some overs or Jessica Andrade by decision or something like that. I think Andrade wins, but I'm not going to put anything serious with this fight.
Okay. I like Andrade here. Lauren Murphy, when she left the lab, she was going to come over to Fight Ready and train with us. And there was somebody already there who they didn't get along. And so just to make stuff not an issue, I had to tell Lauren, hey, I'm sorry you can't train here. And now that girl's not even with us anymore. It's kind of a thing. So I'm like,
come back, Lauren.
Yeah,
we need you now.
I chose the wrong. But, she has gotten leaps and bounds better over the last couple of years. She was in Houston for a while. Her husband, Joe, is a super nice guy. Her jiu-jitsu's good. Her angles, she's gotten such better striking. Her technical striking was very sloppy. And her technical boxing has gotten a lot better. And her angles are a lot better too. And she's mixing up her offensive wrestling well. She really is good. She really has gotten a lot better. She fought for a title. Gosh, she is really good. The issue with her, which is the issue in a lot of women's MMA, is there's an athleticism discrepancy.
And people are going to come for you for saying that she's good, but what he's saying is that she's got the basis of things that make you good. She's tougher than a $2 steak. She will swing in the pocket. She will wrestle offensively and defensive.
She's not bad.
A little clunky.
She's good everywhere. She's clunky. She's not overly athletic. She's not fast. That's the thing is, she does stuff well. She's just not an athlete. I don't know if she's not an athlete or she's 38 or a combination of those two things.
A combination for sure.
But she's not an athlete, and so she looks slow. She looks clunky. She looks lumbering. But if you look at her 4 or 5 years ago or however many, if you look at the progression, she is getting better and better and better, and she's solid.
I trained with her. She is one of the strongest women I have ever touched in my life. She is so strong, and she's actually very good.
She's super nice woman as well. The issue is you have Andrade on the other side who's fast, dynamic. We saw her against Lemos, fires a low kick and then immediately returns the same side head kick and whips Lemos in the face. She's got power. She's dropping girls. She dropped Chukagian with a body shot. Then she somehow grabs Lemos's head and arm and chokes her standing. She dumps Rose on her head and gets... she's just a physical powerhouse. She's fast. She's athletic. She's explosive. And she comes to fight. She really does come to fight. That alone, I've got to go Andrade for the aggressiveness in the athleticism. All things equal, I just think that Lauren is just not going to be dynamic enough to win. Now, that said, I have always, thought that Lauren is going to lose every fight, and I never give her the respect, and she ends up winning and winning and winning and winning. I don't know that streak is going to continue here, but we'll see.
I guess we will see. We'll see with all these fights.
Yep.
We'll see how it all goes.
So,
all right. So we're both on Andrade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that one's a don't overthink it, but I think there will be some tricky plays in there. Sometimes I have trouble seeing what's right in front of me. Someone will tag me after the fight and be like, duh, it was Andrade knockout first round easily. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but I could have seen where she survived. And
yeah, sometimes you have to overthink stuff. And that's the whole thing is analysis. Sometimes it is meat and potatoes. And for you people that don't know, Meat and potatoes just means it's simple, you guys. So don't overthink
keep
that.
it simple. Yeah,
keep it simple, because some people have been like, "What's the meat? What's the potatoes?"
Like it's like Dana White's Fuck It Friday. I'm mixing some crazy recipe. What I mean is, like, last year I was so sporadic with bets all over the board. This. I'm just keeping it so simple. Let's choose like the person the promotion wants to win, who is a better fighter, better cardio, and we'll put 2 of those together, and that's meat and potatoes. Let's keep it very simple.
Keep it simple. Yeah. So I don't even. I lost my train of thought after the meat and potatoes.
That's all right.
I don't even know what I was talking about.
It's not a code, guys.
It's not a code. Just sometimes
keep your vocabulary meat and potatoes. Just keep it easy. Keep your conspiracy theories meat and potatoes. All right. Next up, we have Gilbert Burns and Neil Magny. Why don't you go on this one?
Okay, I'm gonna kick this one off. Man, I love being orange. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Neil Magny is not the same guy he was a few years ago. He is long, he's tall, he does so much stuff really well. What he stopped doing is he doesn't know how to strike anymore. And he used to be like, he's kind of waiting there. But if you wait there too long, you either have to counter strike. So you've got to lead the dance. When you counter strike, you don't want to sit there and wait for somebody to say a jab. I'm waiting for you to throw a jab. I'm waiting for you to throw a jab. And then in my head, you're going to throw a jab. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to fire a right hand. But then you decide to throw a low kick or a right hand or this or that. And that's the thing is, when all things equal, the person who goes first is going to win. And it's a foot race. If you and I are going, if I get to say go, I'm going to win. It doesn't matter if you're faster than me. I'm going to be 5 feet in front of you before we get to the finish line. If you say go, it doesn't matter if I'm faster than you. You're going to be 5 feet in front of me. And when you're fighting and I'm waiting and you're waiting and I'm waiting and you're waiting, whoever goes first is going to win. So as a counter fighter, you cannot sit there and wait. You've got to feint. I got to feint, hope that you react, and then I counter you. Or I've got to like move away or something. I've got to create a movement. But Neil Magny is just standing there now. He's not going first and he's just waiting. It's not like he's overloading the volume to disrupt the counter, and he's not creating an adequate counter to do anything. And he's just there, and his hands have gotten a little wider in his stance, and he's not as athletic. He's a little bit slower than he used to be. Then you take the fact that where he really excels is creating these grappling scrambles and taking the back, getting a takedown and taking the back. Are you going to do that with Gilbert Burns? Jamahal couldn't hold Burns down. I mean, you think Neil Magny's going to do it? And then you have Burns, who is just heavy-handed, level changes, firing big punches to a guy that got rocked by Max Griffin, who's a lot better than people think, but doesn't have the experience or the offensive and defensive wrestling as Burns. And Burns is still a dude who's down to fight. This dude is fighting the best of the best of the best. Whereas Magny, I think, has lost too many steps. I think this is kind of an easy Burns situation. I don't know if he finishes Magny because Magny is just so tough to finish, but it would not surprise me to see a TKO. I don't think it's going to be like a clean knockout, but maybe he hurts Magny, gets him wobbled, comes in for the kill, or I could see a decision. But I really like Burns in this spot quite a bit.
Yeah. I just agree with everything that you say. Like, Gilbert Burns, to me, how could you not be a huge fan of his fight style? I mean, the dude is game as fuck. He came from jiu-jitsu. He was a black belt no-gi world champion. He learned how to wrestle. He learned how to strike, and he is so game now. I mean, one of my favorite fights of his was watching him toy with Tyron Woodley, right? When Woodley was the man at the time. Yep. You know, we didn't know what we didn't know yet, but I love how he gets people to engage him and he gets people to fight with him. He'll do a lot of hands here, a lot of this motion. He'll slam leg kicks super hard until you get hurt and you feel like you have to fire back.
You either have to run away or you have to attack.
And when you attack, he hits that rock back, boom, boom, counters, another low kick. He has been, the Henry Hooft prodigy and, protege? Protege. He's been the Henry Hooft protege, the keep it simple, stupid, the meat and potatoes of striking. That's why he's learned so well, because he doesn't do anything crazy. He moves his head, he jabs, he low kicks, he counter strikes. He just is awesome. And he learned how to wrestle. I mean, he was taking down Wonder Boy. Who else has really done that to Wonder Boy?
Yeah. Easy, like that, yeah. Like with that ease.
Bilal, yeah, but that's it. Yeah, exactly. And then his jiu-jitsu is excellent, right? And Neil Magny, it's weird. We always think of him as this guy who just throws 10 million jabs, and maybe he used to, but it's weird. You know, when we throw a jab, we talk about it all the time. You almost have to hide it. You don't want to have this big pump the jab. It's coming right from. Magny's so tall, and he kind of keeps his hands really wide. He's almost pumping every single jab, which is why a lot of guys are cracking him on the inside.
He has to pull it back to load it because his hand is always out so far.
It's always so far. And so I think that Gilbert, I mean, he can work on the inside. I could see him KOing Magny badly, right? For how bad that Max hurt him, I think Gil hits harder. I think his wrestling is good. His jiu-jitsu obviously is amazing. And that part annoys me that people are like, well, he has no subs in the UFC. Guys, jiu-jitsu is not all about submissions. Like, if jiu-jitsu was all about submissions, Joel Alvarez is the number one guy in jiu-jitsu ever. But it's about positions. It's about controlling. It's about so much more than just submissions.
Getting it, exactly.
Yeah.
Getting the sub.
I mean, they even say position over submission. I would take a guy who's just got better control on top than a guy who's all Hail Mary subs.
But yeah, if you look at the guys winning a lot of these jiu-jitsu tournaments, it's the guys with position.
Yeah, and watch the black belt finals. How often does it end in submission? Almost never. It's the Mendez brothers. You know, that's where my jiu-jitsu still is. It's Cobrinha and the Mendez brothers. But it's 1-0 or 2-0. Who can have excellent control and the best grips? But Dorino, he's really that good. I love Dorino. Magny's not going to have that massive cardio edge in this fight. Burns just went life or death with Khamzat in a super, super close fight at the most unreal pace that you've ever seen, and was just fine afterwards, ready to go 2 more rounds.
Yeah.
Like I don't give Magny an edge anywhere in this fight, and he's not even a big power puncher, so that would be the only place I could see it. But man, Burns ate everything from Khamzat and then some. So I love Burns here.
Yeah. All right. What do we? I think now we have the co-main, right?
Yeah. Now we got Mr. Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno.
Figueiredo against Moreno. Let me hear your thoughts on this first.
Well, you did a long thing yesterday.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about this a little bit and give your thoughts? You go first on this one.
So the thing with Figueiredo, and you guys have to know, if you don't know, that he trained with us for his last fight against Moreno.
And I asked this yesterday. I just wanted to clear this up. Is Figueiredo training at Fight Ready?
No, Figueiredo's not training at Fight Ready.
Is John Jones, has he been training at Fight Ready for the last year?
No, he has not. He comes and goes, but he has not been with us.
There you go, guys. Jerry Prohashka, has he been at Fight Ready for the last year?
No, he didn't even do his last camp with us. He spent about 6 weeks with us before his camp started.
Okay.
And then he went to Glover and did the rest.
Everything's cleared up. All right, good.
Done. Clear the air. So the thing with Figueiredo, and I'm going to zoom in on me for this one, just because he is so good. And I wish I could recreate what I said yesterday, because I felt like I hit all of the points. And when he came to us, first of all, when he fought Moreno, the 17th time versus the 18th time, the time right before he came to us, he got submitted with a rear naked choke. And we kept asking, we're like, well, why did you roll into that and dive? I think he dove for a leg. I forget exactly what it was. And he's like, oh, I just wanted to do it. He just likes to do wild, creative stuff. And it was a bad decision. Like, he just jumps for stuff and goes. And our entire camp with Figueiredo, it was like, don't screw up. Don't do dumb stuff. And while we were training, we would be doing something like a single leg takedown defense. All right. And he's just like, whizzer, wrist control, leg on the ground. Okay. They do that, leg on the ground. All right. Start doing that and start working a little bit live. He does it 3, 4, 5 times. Then all of a sudden you get a single leg, he whizzers, and then he jumps to a heel hook and goes to his back. I'm like, no, stop, no. Like, that's not what we do. And then, all right, he's defending a double leg. And then he jumps to a guillotine and rolls through and comes up on top. And we're like, no. Or he's on top in the guard and he's ground and pounding. And then he sits back for a heel hook. And it was all about don't do dumb stuff. Like,
you're so good, so let's just make sure you can be so good.
Yes. It was don't make big mistakes and give other people positions. And that's what it was. And then the other part was he had to stay focused. Like, we would be drilling something and we were explaining it. He's drilling it. He's working it. And then he just is looking up around, smiling to the pretty girls at Scottsdale.
It's hard not to.
Hey, Scottsdale pretty girls are on another level. But, I mean, he is just all over the place. Just, boom, ADD gone. And so we just don't know, where that was our plan. And then the other thing was his weight. When he started camp, went back to Brazil for a couple weeks, and then he resumed camp. and his weight was an issue. And we're like, hey, you got to stay low. You got to stay low. And it's not like he's like fat and out of shape. He just is so muscular that, I mean, he's just huge. And so his weight was a thing. And so now I look at it where he's not with us. He's back in Brazil. And not to say that he couldn't do very well at any other camp, but are they telling him not to jump for stuff? Or are they encouraging him to jump for the jiu-jitsu?
Wow, you came on top. That must work. You should do this all the time.
Yes. Like, what are they encouraging? And, like, are you jumping for this stuff? Are you having fun? Are we just laughing? All right, we're working. A pretty girl walks by and we're all laughing and smiling. Or is it...
Now you're trying to show off for the girl.
Yeah. Is there a game plan? Is there discipline? What is going on? Okay, so that's a big thing. So our two technical things with him, the main things were attack the calf, because Moreno sits so heavy on that lead leg. Mm-hmm. And then it was get off the cage and back up if we get taken down. So don't let Moreno put us on the cage, because Moreno is not a traditionally great wrestler, but he does a really good job of pushing people to the cage and getting a takedown on the cage or getting the back on the cage. So he didn't want to spend time there. And of course, if we get taken down, we need to get back up so we're not losing time or giving up our back. And then on the other side, you have Moreno, who looked good against. It was a very close fight in the Figueiredo fight. In his last fight against Kai Kara France, he looked even better. He looked more comfortable. Kai Kara was throwing everything at him, and Moreno was barely even moving. He was just like, he was fine to live and die in that pocket, and he was exchanging well. Now, he does get clipped. That chin, his little floaty.
Yeah, it's all fun and games. He doesn't even need to do it, which is why it confuses me.
Yes, it's just a weird stance. He has that chin up. He's so heavy on the lead leg. That chin is up. The calf kicks are always there. But, you know, I think he was doing really well against Moreno in the firefight, but Moreno just does so little. And that was the other thing is when Deiveson was in camp, he would be sparring, and he would just not be doing stuff. And people would think, oh, I'm doing really well against him. I'm doing really well. And then he would tee off, and the fear of God went into everybody. He would take people down. He would drop them with he is amazing when he just lets it go and goes. But then... but one, he doesn't, and we saw it in the Moreno fight. He could have really fired, but then when he does, when you give him free reign, you're going to get those beautiful combos and exchanges, but then you're also going to get him jumping for heel hooks. So you got to take the good with the bad. On the other side, again, we have Moreno, who Kraus is in the gambling situation. So Moreno's now doing camp with Saif down at Fortis.
Yep.
And how does that marriage go? What's going on with that? I have to think that with Saif is going to see, all right, so to take away the calf kick, or you either change your stance or you press. So you press, that takes away your leg kicks. I would assume that they're going to try to get into a firefight with Moreno, and they're going to try and press him, and they're going to try to not let him be comfortable in those positions. And I would say Moreno's getting more comfortable boxing. I would say crowd. I would say go. Force Figueiredo to have to just act on instinct and hope he does something dumb. And I lean Moreno on this. I think all things considered, I think Moreno is getting better. And if Figueiredo isn't super disciplined, I wonder about that. I wonder. And then, I just think that I think Moreno is just getting better and better and better. And we really saw a great performance on that last one. I think Moreno's going to end up winning. But more than anything, I think you guys, it's a flyweight fight. You generally don't go this way, but I don't think this is going the distance. I think Moreno's pressure is going to force some exchanges, and I think one of those two are going down. I think
somebody's out.
Yeah, I think Moreno plus Saif Zaoud from Fortis, and the pressure and that intensity, somebody's going out.
You gave me the opportunity to train with Figueiredo last year. In preparation for that Moreno fight, just back takes and grappling and stuff like that. And what you were saying was like when he wanted to turn it on, he puts the fear in God of people. I was pretty heavy at the time, and I saw him. I was fat. He weighed more than me with a 12-pack abs. It was unbelievable. And I look at myself and I look at him, and I just think like, we're not the same species. He's something so completely different. And touching his body and just feeling him, he's not the same thing as me. It's just not the same. And he hits crazy hard. Technically, I would have him in so many positions where I'm like, dude, he's never going to get out of this. And he has good jiu-jitsu, and then would use his athleticism
When
make
needed.
up for any lack of jiu-jitsu technique that he had. And it was incredible. And I'm like, man. And then I think Brandon Moreno's almost the complete opposite, right? He's soft body. He's not physically imposing. He doesn't have any crazy traits or God-given power, but he's just game as fuck to fight. He's ready to throw down. Where Figueiredo, like, I'll fight when I kind of want to. Moreno's like, no. I have to fight, so let's fight. I thought that Figueiredo looked good. I watched that last fight live in person, and I know a lot of people were screaming robbery. It wasn't a robbery. Come on.
It was a close fight.
It was a close fight.
But
I thought Figueiredo won clearly. That southpaw look was really good for him, and it's just the fear of what might happen. You know, I do think Moreno got hurt a few times in that fight. He got clipped, but he did well enough in the rest of the round to make it look super, super close. But it's just that fear of what might happen. I want to engage him, but man, he hits so freaking hard that I know if I do and I miss time one thing, it's over for me. And you know, the fight that he won, he did a good job pressing him. He forced Figueiredo to fight and then got him down, took his back, and he looked so disinterested. Yep. So I think in this fight, just like you said, I think that him not being at fight ready, not for this camp's better than that camp or anything like that. I just think that getting people to stop doing dumb shit is so much more valuable than anything else. Like, he's so good. He could win, I think, any given day, he could starch Brandon. I think physically he's more gifted. He hits harder. His jiu-jitsu is excellent. Like, when he wants to do something, he can do it. I just think Brandon is probably more focused and more game and will force him to fight. Honestly, Figueiredo's cardio, I think, is a lot better than people think that it is. Someone explained this to me. He's a V12. He's a Ferrari V12 engine. It's just, It's got a little, when you drive it, you hear a little whistling out the window and you're like, all right, what is that? What does that sound? Yeah. Right? It's not running perfect. So I like Moreno here. He already knows how to fight.
The other thing, you know me, and on a coaching level, I've got a few sayings. One of them is always, doesn't matter who's better, it matters who gets off the stool fresher.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one, it doesn't matter who's better, it matters who messes up first, who fucks up first. And that's it. You can't make mistakes in these championship level fights. And if Figueiredo has a very, like, it's football. Who has more flags usually loses, you know what I mean? More penalties. And penalties are freebies for your opponent. You cannot give people free shots at this level. It's a penalty shot.
So you're saying if Figueiredo takes off a round?
Yeah, not even a round. If he takes off a round, of course, that's a thing. But if he does dumb stuff, he gives up a position. He goes for these big movements, and then he gives, and literally it just gives Moreno maybe 3 jabs. Okay, well, that's a thing. And you cannot make mistakes. And I think Moreno is going to make less mistakes. I think Figueiredo is better everywhere. I think he is better everywhere. And I think Moreno makes less mistakes.
Do they test for Adderall in Brazil?
He should be on some Adderall.
Yeah.
So I'm going Moreno here, just on mistakes. But I do, wouldn't be crazy to see unleashed Figueiredo just find a knockout. But
boom, right then and there.
Yep, it can always happen. But I think Moreno here. Well, let's get to the main event. Let's finish this up. Let's wrap it up. Before we do, you guys go to the Patreon. Become a member. It's fun. Check out the Discord. And then, like I said, subscribe to the channel, like the video, thumbs up it, all that good stuff. So we've got Jamahal Hill and we've got Glover Teixeira. Give us your thoughts on that. I went first on the last one. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
I think this fight is pretty linear. And what I mean by that is, like, Jamahal Hill, first of all, he's super inspiring. I mean, he's taken, like, very rudimentary skills so far. Like, he's literally fighting for a title this weekend. That's crazy, right? Skill for skill, I don't think he's amazing, but athletically, I think he's incredible, right? He hits hard. His boxing is actually better than what I had always imagined it is. And then, after he got submitted by Paul Craig, I thought, man, his jiu-jitsu sucks. But actually watching it, it's a lot better than I had pictured. Yeah. That being said, his takedown defense is not the greatest of all time. And Glover is a lot of things, but he is good at takedowns. He runs that outside low single, and his top pressure is incredible, and his jiu-jitsu is legitimately excellent. He is very good. And actually, I love his boxing too. He's always parrying punches, moving his head, coming inside, and throwing tight, crisp punches. And I heard he hits harder than anyone in the world.
He looks like he hits harder than anyone in the world.
Because he's just so small and solid. I think this fight is pretty linear. Everyone imagines that, Glover rushes in and Jamahal standing southpaw, boom, cracks him with a 2, and then the fight's over. And yes, that absolutely could happen. But skill for skill, the matchup at hand, Jamahal Hill's going life or death with Thiago Santos, who's been done for a long time. He doesn't have the boxing, the volume, the pressure that Glover Teixeira has. Doesn't have the wrestling that Glover Teixeira has. He's got last minute switch of opponents. I think I have to like Glover in this situation. He's an underdog again.
Did you know the odds?
Yeah,
Huge?
he's like plus 150 or plus 120 or something like that. He's an underdog again, which is crazy to me. By far better grappling. Honestly, technically better boxing. Boxing by far. It's not close. So you're just counting on, a Jamahal Hill win, I think looks like just being younger and more athletic or maybe having better cardio. But even then, I'm not really sure. I like Glover here.
Yeah, Jamahal Hill, you hit a lot of those points. He's athletic, he's young, he's fast, he's dynamic. But I think now that he's had those really good knockouts, people are savvy to it. And they know, I can't just be sloppy here.
Like, I can't rush in.
Yeah, you got to be sharp. You've got to be sharp. I think Glover's going to be sharp. Jamahal Hill is a southpaw, and that lead leg is there. And Glover snatches that outside single and lifts it so much, so often against every opponent that I think, can he get chinned? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we don't have crystal balls. Like, of course, anything can happen. I think it's less likely that he gets chinned and more likely that he, probably takes some shots and moves, but just wrestles.
A typical Glover fight.
Yeah,
gets chinned 3 or 4 times, comes from the depths of hell, gets on top, and then gets a finish.
Yeah, I think that outside single is going to be key. I think he's going to wear on Jamahal Hill. I think being in Brazil, the adrenaline, the main event last kind of minute. It wasn't like he really had time to let it settle in. And I like Glover here. What I love is fight doesn't go the distance. I think
either way.
I think does the fight start round 4? No. I think it's probably within 3 rounds somebody's dead.
God, I had half my net worth on Jamahal Hill when he fought Thiago Santos, and I was nervous every time because he was getting hit with bombs. Yeah. And Thiago's not even a guy that opens up much anymore, but Jamahal was so wide and defensively irresponsible, not because I think he's not skilled in that way, but he's trying so hard to get the kill that he leaves himself open to be
He's just
killed.
too offensive-minded and
Always.
A little arrogant in his own abilities.
Yep.
Not arrogant, like uncautious. He's
so
just
that's a killer be killed right there.
Yeah,
someone's going to go out.
Yep. So I think so. I think the fight is done before 25 minutes. I like Glover for the win. I hate to see Shogun be done, and I think that's a wrap.
I think this is going to be a very good card. I actually can't wait. So this will come out on Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Okay, this will come out on Wednesday. Guys, go sign up for the Patreon. I'm super pumped about Invicta tonight. I can't wait for that. I say tonight because Wednesday it's coming out. There's just some really good spots coming up. I think this is a really exciting UFC card. I think there's a lot of good opportunities here. Invicta, all the other sports everybody does. So yeah, go sign up for the Patreon. Don't be a weirdo. Be normal.
Don't be a weirdo in life or on the Patreon. Love you guys.